Hello, welcome to the Peter Repeater episode 28. In this episode of Peter Repeating, I will be saying stuff and I will look at the following topics. I will think about how significant we are in a profound way, even though we are insignificant in the context of the universe itself. Also, I'll be looking at what moment in life are you fully present, and is that the best moment that you can have in life when you're fully present. Also, I'll be looking at, can you have spirituality without God? So I'll probably forget all those questions, but let's focus on the first one, which was can't even remember. Like, when you're present, I think I forgot the first one. When you're present, are you fully in the moment? What am I saying? Are you fully present in the moment? And is that the best moment of life? Okay, let's think about that. So let's think of a moment that I'm fully present in, and then we will consider it. So, for example, if I look at my life right now, I have podcasts where I'm fairly present, and I also have and that's about all I do, really. I watch podcasts and I listen to podcasts, and that's how I spend my time. So when I'm watching that podcast, am I fully present, and is that the best way that I'm spending my life? And I would say no, even though it's interesting to listen to, and I have a satisfaction, and I laugh along with the podcast, and I really enjoy it. Even though all those things are true, it's not the most present I ever feel. It's not the best moment of my life. And probably some of the best moments in my life is when I see something beautiful in nature, and you're with family, and you can just look at the amazing view or the sunset, and you're just in the moment with a pasty in hand, and you're just fully absorbing the moment, and those moments are very nice. Probably the best moment of my life is probably some of the best moments of my life are making people laugh, because you get that sense that you're responsible for making people happy, and like all the attention's on you, and you're thinking about that funny thing. That's also a present moment. A lot of what I've done in the recent past is just watch TV, watch YouTube, and more recently listen to podcasts. And that's probably quite a passive activity, and it probably isn't that worthwhile, and you're not fully present in the moment. Whereas in this podcast, I'm always thinking of new things to say, and I am more present and more able to be in the moment and make the most out of life. And I feel like I am just more awake, and I can contemplate existence, and it's quite nice. So actually making the podcast for me has been a real good thing. Just thinking about stuff, making podcasts, and trying to be creative with what you're saying. And I think that's that state of mind when you're in the moment and you're thinking of positive things to say, and you're making a podcast. I think that's probably really healthy for me. But I have had moments in my life where I felt really awakened in the moment, and I probably have less of that these days, especially when we're stuck inside all the time. There's something special also. Another good moment I have in my life is when you're on a walk and you take a photo, and you know that the photo you've just taken is really good and it'll be good on Instagram. And then that moment of realization, you're surrounded by nature and you're like able to see it a long way, and you can see something beautiful, the sea and stuff like that. And then you've also got the satisfaction of you got a photo and you're really pleased with that, and it will get you likes on Instagram. That's not what life's about, but it's a good moment to have. And I have had special moments when talking to people and really having a good chin wag, and I feel good about myself. Hopefully these moments are come more and more often as time goes on, and hopefully I can make sure these moments are a good part of my life, and they continue to happen. So the other thing, what else did I pose a question? I've forgotten all the questions, but there you go. Can you have spirituality without God? It's difficult because if there is a God, then all those spiritual moments will be an essence, a sample, something that resonates with God. It'll be a part of God's love and spirit, and you'd be feeling, if God does exist and you have a spiritual moment, then it's a God moment, but you don't fully recognize its source. So in a way, if you're spiritual and you're not in connection to the true source of the universe, then you could think that your spiritual is not as deep and meaningful as someone that recognizes the true source of God and recognizes the spirit of the moment. If you feel something remarkable and you feel like a sense of meaning and you have a spiritual moment, it's hard to describe. And the question is, does that spiritual moment have less significance if you are not aware of the true nature of it? Well, I'm going to say no, because I don't think anyone is aware of the true nature of a spiritual existence. Even if God is real, even if Christianity is based on the true nature of God, and it all makes sense and it all fits together nicely, the person who believes in God and reads the Bible and stuff, they don't have a full picture of what God is like. So they, in a way, are feeling spirituality with an ignorance to the nature of the source. So I think everyone, in a way, is having a lesser form of the true spiritual essence of the universe. I think everyone is I don't know how to say it, just having a smaller sample size, just a flavour of what the true spiritual thing that you're feeling, and I think nobody really is fully in connection with the spiritual nature of God, if God exists. So I don't think it matters too much whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, over how you can explore the spiritual realm. But then, can you really explore because if God does exist and all this spiritual stuff is to do with God, can you really fully explore that without knowing that it's God? Like, is it a requirement of spiritual experiences for you to have a context to that experience, or can you have that spiritual experience, have that sense of something greater than you and overwhelming feeling of something extraordinary inside you, and can you have that without the framework of the religion around it? And I think you have to, because I don't think that there's any real difference between the spiritual, supernatural experiences that someone from a different religion has to someone of the same religion as me. I don't think there's any. You can't really argue that one is feeling God and one isn't, because they're both having the same feelings. So I think the context of the feeling of God, or the feeling of spirituality, the context of that, the religion around it, so Christianity, is not as important as people think. It's a, it has significance if it's true, but it's not all encompassing. Everyone's human, and if everyone's made by God, everyone has the potential to feel that spiritual experience regardless of your thoughts on whether God exists. So I think by the fact that people of different religions can have spiritual experiences in different contexts with different deities, if different religious people can have the same experience, which I think they can, then I think spirituality is independent to the religion, and someone who doesn't think that God is the real thing can still explore that spiritual realm. And the question is, that after my many questions, what is spirituality? And it's hard to really put your finger on. I think the main thing is feeling like there is a energy that connects people to others, connects everyone together, and there's an extrapolation, a extension of our human nature that lives outside the human form. So for example, love isn't just something that we feel ourselves, it is a separate energy to the universe that exists in itself. And whether you think that's God, or whether you think that that's some other God, or whether you think that's just the universe itself, I think spirituality is like the extension of our human nature, and the feelings we feel are energies of the core essence of the universe, and we are just able to feel the the true essence of reality, and we are hosts for love. We're not the love doesn't happen within us as chemicals, so to speak. Instead, we are the hosts of love, and that's it's like what's an example? It's like a light bulb. The light bulb doesn't create its own light completely by itself. it requires the national grid to provide energy, so it can spark the light with that energy. So our feelings of spirituality, of love, kindness, compassion, all our good feelings, we are like the light bulb that needs to tune in with the energy of the universe for our own feelings to be turned on by it. So we are sort of just harboring the energies of the universe, and they manifest themselves within us, and we can feel something greater than ourselves. That's what I think the world is like, because I think we are far too remarkable, and our consciousness is so remarkable that, and the universe existing for our consciousness to be real, to exist in the first place. So the universe existing, and our consciousness existing within it, and us to be able to perceive the universe, and we give existence its own life, its own awareness, because without us to perceive the universe may as well not exist. So that interplay between consciousness and the universe and everything is so remarkable that I don't think it's a mistake. I think there is a real relationship between our core essence of who we are and the core essence of reality, and it might well be that the hidden underlying particle interactions, the neutrinos and that pass through us, and the dark matter that exists undetected, all these things are all part of the core essence of reality and what gives us life. And I don't think it's a mistake, and this is where I think that it's all part of God's universe, and the love exists everywhere, and that could be described physically, but it doesn't make it any less real. But that doesn't have to be God for everyone. That could just be a true essence of reality, and you could believe in something greater than yourself, and you could believe in this, in a divine part of our existence, and believe that love is a universal truth rather than just a human feeling. And they're both things, but one can only happen, the feeling of love can only happen because love exists in and of itself. And I call that God. Other people will just have that same belief and same thought about what love is and everything, and that spirituality, and all of that is just tiptoeing around what spirituality means to me. And I think it's a very remarkable thing, and is not to be ignored. And Christians will spend whole lives exploring that realm of spirituality in the context of God. But if you're not a fan of God, there's nothing to stop you exploring spirituality in and of itself, because it's not any less real without God to describe it for you. So that's a real complicated view on spirituality, and just my my feelings of what love's like and what God means to me, and what it means for everyone. So yeah, in this world where I'm doing this podcast, it does feel a little bit. I don't think it's a podcast doing this. I think it's more of the the fact that we're in a lockdown and we're stuck inside all the day. I think all day. Yeah, I think just little things make you really like life and value its just really appreciate it and make you feel complete. And one thing I miss is going to a pub and playing pool. That was something that was really quite therapeutic. And maybe going on a walk somewhere and getting out the house. That was fairly significant, and I think it was a good part of daily activities. And yeah, just I don't know, because I was in this stage of my life that I was going to stay at home anyway during this time before university, and I don't know whether I'd be feeling the same things as I am now. That just something isn't quite there, and I don't know. I just feel like there's not enough variety in my day, and it's hard to find that variety and sense of fulfillment when all you do is stay inside. Because I can't think of anything while staying inside which is really excites me, and it just makes you realise that maybe we have to go out the house to find what's really worth doing, and we have to go outside the house to find ourselves. You have to go outside the home to make the home feel like home, I think. Yeah, that is a quote. Quote it away, write it down. You have to go outside the home to make a home feel like home. That is a quote. Quote me all day. That's coronavirus update. I could tweet that. Yeah. Yeah. I could tweet that. Get a shed loads of likes. Is that what my Twitter's gonna turn into? Is just my mouth's not moving. Okay, it's moving now. Is that what my Twitter's just gonna turn into? Is just quotes? Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Probably shouldn't put a quote on Twitter. So I just yeah, want variety in my day. Want to feel like I do lots of different things, but I'm staying at home. Like, what is there to do? I could watch a film. I could watch Netflix. I probably am already optimized the whole situation and found my place and things to do already. Probably already have. Like, my routine is probably the best option there is. I think things will get better. Yeah. I'm fairly good if I compare myself to different times. I'm fairly content and everything. Maybe I should meditate more. Like, the next thing I'm going to do after this podcast is I'm going to read my book to try and correct some mistakes. That's quite a good thing, because I get to read. I suppose it's just when I do this podcast and I have nothing to talk about, for example, then I think I don't really do anything with my day. doesn't really add up to much. But then when I'm actually listening to the podcast, I'm like, yes, great. This podcast's great. Keep it going. That's how I genuinely feel about life when I'm doing stuff like that. Yeah, so hopefully everything will work out. I'll go to college and it'll be more or less fine, or I won't, Yeah. So all those things considered, I've probably done it a little bit early now. To look at my Twitter, I'll be like, oh, there's 15 minutes to go. Yeah, it's just, yeah, that's right, 15 minutes to go. I'm just trying to keep this podcast a good length all the time. So let's think of a question I can ask myself and keep myself going for a bit longer. Yeah, okay, so if I could go out the house once a week during this lockdown, if I was allowed to go outside the house once a week, what would I do and why? I would would I go for a walk? I could go for a walk on the beach and have a nice view and take photos. That would be fairly good use of time. Or I could go to the pub and play pool. I could go to the cinema and watch a film. Go to a restaurant and eat food. I think I would like a day with go out with someone and eat food at a nice restaurant and go play pool, and then I would eat food at a restaurant, go play pool, go home, or playing board game. That would be fun. Playing a board game. Really, I just want all my family to be in one place and us to just be doing a jigsaw together and talking about stuff. That's where it's at, really. Just do a jigsaw and read my book. Maybe I could do more of that, reading my book. Yeah, so all those things are possible. I like going to church. That's something. I think that's what I'm missing. I hate to say it. Just go to church and then getting out of the house, and that was something really cool. And now I can't do it. I know the church is online, but I don't go to church to listen to the sermon. I go to church to meet people, I think. Talk to people about my book and stuff. Anyway, those days are all ahead of me. Got all of that to look forward to. If I work hard on my book, I'll feel a lot better about myself. Work hard on my book, and it's basically reading it and correcting the mistakes, and then I can recommend my book to people and make the most out of my book, and it would be cool. Yeah, those things are good, and then people can read my book and then talk to me about my book, and it will all be worth it. It was worth it writing it, to be honest, but if people read it and could enjoy the book and compliment it and everything, that would feel good. Yeah, so all those things are possible. So if I wanted to go out once in this in this lockdown, it'd be to go to church. Really like doing that. And I wish there was a youth group, or I was the right age, some sort of adult thing where I can meet people. That'd be quite cool. Those things are possible. And this could be in like a couple of months' time, you know? It's not necessarily going to be a lockdown forever. Yeah. Yeah, I'm missing just simple things in life, really. Being able to go out the house and make the most of life, really. I think those things keep you in check, keep you going more or less. So let's ask another question. If I had all my needs met for me for the rest of my life, and I had money to live on, would I get a job and work? Because some people really find that having a job is really worth it, and gives you purpose. And would I, if I had all my needs met for me, I didn't have an income, would I work? And I think I would have to, but I definitely wouldn't. You think work's great. It gives you a sense of purpose, gives you something to do every day. It means that you don't spend your whole life contemplating your life, and you spend your time actually, when you're at work, you spend your time actually doing something. So it's sort of escapism from your own head. You don't have to focus on yourself and your problems and your life and your consciousness. You don't have to reflect and focus and stuff and be bored and everything. When you're at work, you can sort of escape from that. So I think the thing about not working is that you sort of have more time to think about stuff. If I was working now, I wouldn't be thinking, these podcasts aren't necessarily, listening to the podcast aren't necessarily the best use of my time. I'd be like, yes, got an hour to listen to a podcast in the evening. That would be the ideal situation. But maybe, is that a good thing, to contemplate your life all the time and see if you're really making the most out of it? I think there is something good about that. Yeah, but you have to do something productive. And I tried writing a book, and now I've tried doing this podcast, and I've tried all sorts of things, and I think it's helped me feel like I'm doing stuff even when I'm not. Yeah, I'm holding a bouncy ball. Yeah, even when I'm not, I'm doing stuff more or less. If I just do one thing at a time, if I try and get my book with all its mistakes corrected, and then I can recommend the book to people, and I can make the most out of life. I just want this lockdown to end. I never thought I'd say it. I thought it was a good thing. I just want to go out and do stuff, have freedom, not feel like I have to stay inside all the time. Even though I like staying inside all the time, when you have to stay inside all the time, it's not as attractive. It's not as good. It's not as ideal. It's only when you can go outside that you prefer to stay inside, and it's fine. But even so, like, I'm used to going outside, once, twice a week. To not go outside at all, it just, the days merge into one. They do quite a lot. At least I've got a podcast to listen to. Have I? I don't know if I like Joe Rogan's most recent podcast person. I got The Fighter and the Kid I could listen to. All those things are possible. Yeah, so I listen to podcasts, I make podcasts, I meditate, and I like doing all those things. I probably shouldn't complain, but I just kind of wish there was more variety to it all. Wish there was something to do, somebody to talk to. Should probably make time to talk to family and stuff like that. All those things are important. I'm going to make the mistake of looking at my Twitter to see how long I've been talking, and we'll see if I can end this podcast. Give it another 5 minutes. So what happens is I upload the podcast and I lose followers, but that's only normal. Yeah. So yeah, all things considered, it's not all about Twitter followers and making the most out of life like that. There's more to life than Twitter and the amount of followers and everything. Yeah, shocking, I know. Shocking. So let's think of something I can do while I'm at home to give myself variety. Something I could realistically fit into life. I could actually watch a program on the internet. Could watch Tiger King. All these things are possible. Could watch a film. Maybe I'm just bored of podcasts. Life isn't that bad. Maybe I should do some more dancing. Do something creative. Oh, my idea was to try stand-up comedy and write something. So some of these comedians on the internet are really funny. The way they say stuff, really funny. But then you repeat the same jokes over and over again. But then jokes like 10 minutes, so you make it better over time. Yeah. I wonder how all that works with stand-up comedy. I'm so invested in the world of comedians doing a podcast that I have considered, do you know what? I'll just start up stand-up comedy and I'll do my own podcast, and I just copycat. Like there's Brian Callen, Joe Rogan, and Brendan Schaub. I can't say his name. And Bill Burr. All these famous podcast people. And the funny thing is, when I watch Joe Rogan's comedy, it's not like some of the stuff he does is really funny, but it's not that good. Like Bill Burr is funny. His Paper Tiger, and they're always talking about specials, and I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna listen to Tom Segura Bullhog on his special on Netflix, because somebody said that was good. I know it's going to be difficult not to listen to a podcast, but I've got to mix it up in life, have a little bit of variety. All those things are good. And I'm going to look at the time, and it'll be like 38 minutes, and I will be like, oh dear, 37 minutes, great. So this podcast is moving along quite nicely, slowly, but also quite nicely. Got a subscriber yesterday, that's a good thing. So I just continue, tweeting. I've been banned from Twitter not banned, but my account's limited for 3 days because I unfollowed over 1,000 people because I followed over 1,000 people. So yeah, the things you do to get a couple hundred followers. Yeah, but all those things are important for getting just 1 or 2 people onto my podcast. That's all it really takes. Just get some people to watch my podcast, and I think it's doing better than I think it's doing, because sometimes it does really well and I don't really fully appreciate that. So what am I going to talk about in this evening's podcast? Well, I don't know. I'll ask some more questions about myself and everything, and hopefully that'll more or less be okay. I've got recycling to do, got food to eat, gonna read a book, my own book, and hopefully get a good chunk of it done and try and finish that off, make myself feel happier. Just knowing that there's loads of mistakes is not cool. Fixing all the mistakes, and then if somebody reads it and they find a mistake, then I can correct that too. Yeah, so all things considered, I've talked about some interesting things in this podcast, and that's really more than I can hope for at this time. If I just go on my Twitter, I think it's good. So thank you for watching. Appreciate listening, those that listen, those that watch. I hope you can find something interesting on my channel. Look through old videos. Go on my Twitter @ThePeteRepeater, and I just tweet my latest episodes. So I hope you like my Twitter and everything, and I hope you like this podcast. PewDiePie has just uploaded a video, so there you go. Right, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. See you soon. Bye for now.